After Saudi Arabia and Pakistan signed the alliance treaty, Indian media went into a panic. Bloggers started buzzing, and an Islamic version of NATO might be taking shape. The spark for this was nothing but Israel's bombing of Qatar, though it's not yet enough to massively shake up Middle East politics. Given some time, the US can still find ways to split Islamic countries. But the Saudi-Pakistan deal is a done fact. If Israel pushes military expansion in the Middle East, it'll face Iran, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia head-on, and the risks will pile up. Islamic countries have been stuck in infighting forever, partly due to religion and history, but the West, especially the US, with its divide-and-conquer tactics, is the biggest reason. Now the global game has changed, and China's strong rise is squeezing the US's wiggle room. The US can't just blindly back Israel like it did after the Soviet Union collapsed without getting bitten in the ass. China can also give Middle East countries tech support, and as a full-chain industrial powerhouse, it offers more options than the US. Plus, China's diplomacy sticks to not meddling in other countries' business, cooperating without controlling. Countries working with China get development benefits, don't pay protection fees, and most importantly, get treated as equals, whether they're big or small. But in this whirlwind of global shifts, India's Prime Minister Modi has spent 11 years picking the wrong f***ing road. Under him, India went from Russia's protectorate to sucking up to the West. The West dangled some fake prestige in groups like G7 and Quad, turning India into a loyal guard dog for its resources. India passed a slew of laws screwing over Muslims at home and provoked neighbors like Pakistan and Bangladesh abroad, putting itself squarely against Islamic countries. India is the only major global power openly shitting on Muslims, something even its master, the US, doesn't dare do. Modi and his clown-ass colleagues think the US will crush China in tech and trade wars, like the West won the Cold War. So India's got to be aggressive. The US is attack dog. How to kiss US ass? For Modi's government, which rode to power hyping a fake Bharat empire and fucking over Muslims, the answer's easy. Blindly back the US's golden boy, Israel, and hate on Islamic countries. Even when Israel bombed India's strategic partner Iran, India didn't condemn Israel. Tons of Indians are spying for Mossad, and some in India even marched for Israel. But Modi and his dumbass colleagues misjudged the situation. China didn't get crushed by Western tech blockades. Instead, it's pumping out breakthroughs left and right, going from defense to counterattack. This year, China's rare earth controls fucked over the US and its allies, making the US realize China's the one holding the real cards. So the Trump administration switched gears, ditched some side interests, and started talking peace with China. Beating China's hopeless, so they're backing Israel's Middle East expansion for quick gains. India got thrown under the bus as a pawn. The US won't keep propping it up against Pakistan and China, instead shearing it for protection fees. The US demands India eat unilateral tariffs with no retaliation and open up agriculture and other markets the US wants. India whined a bit, and the US doubled the tariffs. Yeah, you read that right. The US is that fucking brutal. Being its guard dog gets you no food, just beatings. Qatar's no better off than India. For years, it's given the US huge military bases, bought tons of weapons, invested in the US, and tied itself tight to America. But when Israeli jets bombed Qatar, not only did US bases do fuck all to protect it, every single US weapon Qatar bought was useless. So Middle East Islamic countries started talks to band together against the US and Israel's threats. China gave diplomatic help, pushing UN resolutions multiple times to demand Israel stop the Gaza war, but the US vetoed them all. A dozen-plus Security Council members, including core US allies, backed these resolutions, but the US used its veto for Israel's sake. Still, I think Islamic countries haven't lost enough yet. They need a few more Israeli bombs to finally drop their infighting habit and truly unite. Short term, it's hard to break the US and Israel's grip on Middle East strategy. But Islamic countries will keep tightening their ties, not directly challenging the US yet. Instead, the US's guard dog, India, will be the first to get hit. India is the world's least respectful country toward Muslims, a nation that does nothing but brag, has no real strength, yet dares to openly fuck over its hundreds of millions of Muslims. For a US lackey like that, Islamic countries can unite to boycott, blockade, and strike it. Thanks to US threats, India doesn't dare buy Russia's oil and gas in bulk, so its only option is Middle East oil and gas, the cheapest alternative. Islamic countries should team up to jack up prices and limit supplies to India, demanding India meet a list of conditions to buy energy or face a total cutoff, forcing the Bharat Empire to run cars on cow shit. Islamic countries can also link up with China, which could cut India off from rare earths, urea, drug ingredients, industrial machinery, and engineering equipment. Together, they can wipe out India's threat to world peace. No need to worry, India will crawl back to the US. The US is pragmatic and always ditches useless pawns. From South Vietnam to Afghanistan, India is no exception. Plus, Trump f***ing hates Modi for not eating his unilateral tariffs and is gearing up to screw India. If everyone moves together, India will instantly become a global pariah, paying for its arrogance. For a country with no self-respect, it's what they deserve. Either way, India's in for a rough ride. It faces a Pakistan backed by Saudi cash and Chinese tech, plus direct threats from China on its northern border. New Delhi could turn into a front line any day. Maybe it's time for Modi to book a trip to Washington. Trump's ass is already washed clean. Jai Hind.